In the words of the great Adam Sandler, you blew it. Hey everybody, Movie Reviewer Next Door here, and I'm back with another review. And the last few have been some doozies, haven't they? Well, get ready to continue that. I just saw In the Cut. This is an erotic thriller, quote unquote, end quote, film from 2003, directed by Jane Campion, and it stars Meg Ryan, Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Nick Damici, Sheriff Pugh, and Kevin Bacon. In this film, following the gruesome murder of a young woman in her neighborhood, a self-determined woman living in New York City, as if to test the limits of her own safety, propels herself into an impossibly risky sexual liaison. Soon she grows increasingly wary about the motives of every man with whom she has contact and about her own. So, what did I think of In the Cut? Well, this is going to be a spoiler review because I have to talk about all of the stupid shit that happens in this fucking terrible movie. Just a second. Just have to grab a movie here that I'm gonna talk about in relation to this. That is a fuck ton better than this movie will ever be. This movie is fucking horrible. If you love it, fine. I have no issue with you. I would love to debate someone on this. In a civil manner, of course. Everything that I say in these videos, as everybody knows, is my opinion. If you have a different opinion, awesome. I am not coming for you. I am not attacking you. I am simply angry that I wasted 2 hours on this, which the only reason this movie seems to exist is to be a movie that, as critics have reappraised it as, an erotic thriller that subverts the male gaze. Also, this is a spoiler review, so spoilers. Let me talk about the actors. Meg Ryan plays Franny Avery. She's a sexually frustrated woman who basically is just she ends up in a thing with a police detective. I love Meg Ryan. I've loved her ever since seeing her in Sleepless in Seattle. Kate and Leopold is another good one. You've Got Mail, she's good in. Courage Under Fire, she's good in. She is a very talented actress. The only thing I can think happened here is that she got terrible direction because she does not do a good job in this movie. She has a couple scenes where she cries and that's about it. All the other times, she sounds robotic as fuck, and I don't believe her character. She literally talks like this in every single scene. And she's almost unrecognizable in this film because I think this was around the time that she claims to have not gotten plastic surgery. I think that's a load of shit. Nothing against her. I have nothing against her as a person, but she doesn't look good in this movie. Mark Ruffalo plays Giovanni Malloy. He's the detective working on this case of this murderer, who's this guy who's murdering women. I think he was pretty bad in this too. Pretty much every scene he's in. I swear there are multiple scenes where he fucks up his line. Like, actively fucks up his line. Like doesn't finish the line, and then people just move on as if he actually did what he was supposed to. I've never liked Mark Ruffalo as an actor. I can at least chalk up his bad acting to just him not being a great actor because I haven't seen him be good in something. Apparently, he's good in Poor Things. I don't want to watch that movie because of the plot. I think it's a very reasonable thing to not want to watch a movie because the plot outline is disturbing. Because that's what actually happens in the movie. Jennifer Jason Leigh plays Pauline, Franny's half-sister who works in a brothel, basically. Again, she's not great. I love Jennifer Jason Leigh. Nick D'Amici plays Detective Rodriguez. He's very over-the-top caricature. Sheriff Pugh plays Cornelius Webb. He's a student of Franny's that's failing. He's not great either. And Kevin Bacon as John Graham, Franny's, I think, ex, or like a guy that she had sex with once. Poor fucking Kevin Bacon looks like he doesn't want to be here. And that's a big thing with this. Jane Campion is the director of Power of the Dog, which I haven't seen, but that was a movie that got a ton of Oscar buzz. Like, and the cast you have in that too: Benedict Cumberbatch, Cody Smith-McPhee, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, like Francis Conroy. You have a cast of great actors. And you have that same thing here. Sorry for coughing into the mic. I don't know anything about Jane Campion, but I hated her direction in this. I hated it, and every character talks like an alien. That's a big fucking issue with this. Every character talks like no one in their right mind would talk. These cops... Can we stop with the whole, like, every single cop in every cop movie is, like, just like, oh, talking about getting pussy and all that. Can we stop that? I've been around fucking cops. Multiple people in my family are cops. I've hung around police stations. This is not how cops talk. Maybe in the specific New York area that they shot this in, will there be a few cops that talk like this. But literally every cop is a fucking dumbass and a dickhead in this, and it really rubs me the wrong way when someone like this, who is clearly going at this from a radical feminist view, not even a realistic feminist view, like, oh, maybe there's some men that suck, which is how it is in real life. Not all men are bad, not all women are bad, not all men are good, not all women are good. That's how it works in real life. This is not real life. Every male character in this movie is fucking horrendously written because they're either talking about getting laid, how stupid women are, or they're a pimp. In the appraisals that all of these critics nowadays are giving this movie, saying that it subverted the male gaze and other tropes of media, you forgot to talk about the part where literally every black character in this movie is either a prostitute, a pimp, or is perfectly fine with hitting a woman. You forgot to talk about that part. And usually I don't bring that up, but these people who want to think that this movie is some, like, beacon of hope for feminism as a movement, the female characters in this movie are fucking retarded. They really are. They're stupid. Our main character, I know this is kind of going forward in the plot. I did say spoiler. She thinks that she's onto the fact that the guy she's been sleeping with killed her sister. Yet she goes ahead to literally handcuff him to a pipe on the wall and literally has sex with him until climax. You think that this guy could possibly be the murderer of your sister, yet you do this anyway. What are you gaining from that? And if anything, it makes her look psychotic, because what if he was the killer of her sister? You've just had sex with the killer of your sister, and if you knew about that, you're a disgusting human being. And that's not even it. Like, this movie is full of that shit, where I think the director thinks that she's so artistic and so subversive of these tropes. There's plenty of tropes in this. Tropes aren't an issue. I'm not saying it's an issue. I think it's an issue when somebody thinks that they're doing something that is so smart and it's clearly not. This movie is not smart. This movie is more interested in creating this universe, this alternate reality where pretty much all men are dogs or sex fiends, and all women are helpless. And how the fuck do you think it looks when in your strive to make a film that has a feminist view of like an erotic thriller from a feminist point, when you make every female character dumb as shit and you make every male character evil? You know what that's going to do for the cause of feminism? Make everything worse. Because, first off, most of law enforcement is men. So you're telling them to not trust men, because if you showed a woman this movie and said, this is how people act, imagine how fucked up that woman's going to be from then on. Men too. Because he'll be like, yeah, all men are assholes. I've got to act like this. Do you realize how fucked up that would be? If all women just didn't believe men at all because they're men? Do you not see how fucked up that is as a statement? And it's very clear that this is what Jane Campion feels. And on the topic of subverting the male gaze, which everybody thinks this film does, there are multiple shots of I'm losing my train of thought. Meg Ryan, completely naked, where the camera goes from her head all the way down her naked body to her feet. Okay, are these people making the argument that women can't sexualize women? Or, even then, that women can't sexualize men? It's an issue when you have a male director who shoots man and woman a sex scene because specifically the woman, even though he would be filming the man too. But it's all of a sudden not a woman, not gays when it's a woman? Did they forget that lesbians exist? Did they forget that women, like, it just comes off really demeaning when people are like, oh yeah, it subverts tropes of the male gaze. Male gaze doesn't fucking exist. I don't care what anybody says to me on this. The male gaze doesn't fucking exist. When you shoot a sex scene, you usually try to make it look sexy. These people would say the same thing about something like a Serbian film. And while I hate that film to my fucking core, I wouldn't say any of the sex scenes in that film are sexual or sexy. But there'd be somebody who'd find a way to turn it into that. My issue with this is that this director doesn't seem so interested in making a film that is enjoyable to watch, but rather one that is lecturing you on how to feel. Because none of the characters are well developed. Even our main character, I don't know shit about her other than she watched a guy get a BJ at a bar. Also, I think I watched the director's cut because you actually see her do it. You actually see her performing said blowjob. Sorry for being so crass in this one. It's what this movie's about. But I did find out that at least they didn't use a real, penis. It's a rubber prop. But still, what's the point of that? As a man, as a man who has one of those things, I could say that that was female gaze, but no one would agree with me because I'm a guy. And apparently, if a man has issues with how something is portrayed in media, it doesn't matter because he's a man. He's a penis haver. He's evil. That's why I hate nowadays feminism. Like, I think it's third wave. Like, original feminism was never this. This is some of the worst writing I've seen in a movie in a long fucking time. In a long time. Because I'm usually very like, oh, how well does this do what it's going for? That kind of thing. But this movie is just reprehensible. But I want to real quick talk about a movie that seems to be going for a very similar thing, I'd say, but does it a lot better. Unfaithful. This is a much fucking better erotic thriller. It's, I'm pretty sure, the same length as this one also. It's a bit longer. This film beats In the Cut out on the sex scenes. The sex scenes are actually pretty daring in a way that actually works for the film. The performances are all great. Richard Gere, Diane Lane especially, Olivia Martinez, all three do great jobs. The characters are written like actual characters. Characters have empathy for other people's situations and certain things. Like, not all. Here's another one. Not all men are fucking creeps or disgusting or whatever. There's a very nice visual flourish to this movie. I'd love to have a Blu-ray of this at some point because it is a gorgeous movie. Great score. Adrian Lynn's direction, front and center. Did I mention that the sex scenes are actually enjoyable to watch? Like, I don't feel like it's just a way for them to artificially extend the movie. I actually felt chemistry between Diane Lane and Olivia Martinez. And I wish more erotic thrillers did it that way. Because once you have an erotic thriller where the people engaging in erotic activities, sex, where they don't look like they want to be around each other, or the sex scenes aren't sexy, then you're left with the plot. And the plot in this is still pretty fucking good. It's very solid. It does what it's supposed to do, and the ending is actually pretty thought-provoking. I wish more movies did stuff like this, and I love Unfaithful. As Adrian Lyne movies go, I would put it above Fatal Attraction, just personally. Personally, I felt a bit more connected to it. I still love Fatal Attraction, though, don't get me wrong. In the Cut, however, pretty much every sex scene is there to be like, ooh, look, he's doing something for her that he gets nothing out of because feminist. Apparently feminists, I'm not gonna say what happens. Apparently feminists, like, even if you say this is a feminist movie, am I supposed to buy that that feminists want an ugly fuck like Mark Ruffalo? Like, if you're even gonna do this right, get somebody attractive. Holy fuck. Mark Ruffalo? Really? That's who you pick? Mark, I'm the Hulk and I'm a pussy Ruffalo. I don't buy it. I don't buy her finding this guy attractive. Because even though Meg Ryan looks kind of off in this movie, probably due to the work she had done, I don't buy her falling for this guy. Because the first time she meets him, he's rude, annoying, and he's even worse at the bar. and it just doesn't feel right. This movie feels wrong, and it got a visceral reaction out of me. Not even in the stuff that was supposed to I was supposed to get a reaction out of. It just felt like it meandered along, and I failed to find a lot of things that I enjoyed in it. Like, even if people want to make the argument that Jane Campion wasn't trying to make a plot so much as she was trying to make a mood, um, the mood in this film, the way this film is shot, they're trying to do like a dreamlike thing, and again, something this film did better. Watch Unfaithful instead of this. In the Cut sucks. Unfaithful's fucking fantastic. In this film, there's this weird focus thing on it where sometimes the characters' faces won't be in focus and the camera will be moving like this while doing this, and I felt sick to my stomach watching these scenes because I was like, I can't tell what the fuck's going on. And I just felt sick. I was like, okay, stop this. Can you stop? Because I'm actually gonna vomit. And again, I watched Hardcore Henry, the movie everybody said, oh, almost made them vomit, which it's not that bad. You just have motion sickness. I didn't even get close with that movie. This movie I did. Like, legitimately almost unwatchable in certain scenes with how it does it. And it's trying to do something different, but it just fails. And again, this film did that better. The scene where her and Olivia meet is not meant to be realistic, but it makes sense. She's found somebody that she finds exciting. She's found somebody new. Even though she's in this relationship where she's happy, she doesn't feel like there's much of a spark. So she meets this new guy, and there's bags and flowers flying in the wind. It's unrealistic, but it works for visual storytelling. In this, or no, in the cut, sorry, Unfaithful. In the cut, it's just used to be like, ooh, look how artistic. 100% Jane Campion had to be an art student because that's what this feels like. It feels like a movie you'd make where you're like, ooh, I want you to tell me what it means. And for the people who think this movie killed Meg Ryan's career, I can kind of see that. Maybe it's just personal. It has to be personal because this is a well-regarded film now. It has a 3.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So I guess I'm just wrong. Very much near the score of Power of the Dog, which is a well-regarded film, I guess. But yeah, I'm if I have to force myself to say what I liked about this, the only thing I can really say is the gore. Because none of the kills are on screen. People keep describing this as like a modern giallo, and it's not. They don't understand what a giallo is. I'm not a huge fan of the genre, but I didn't even get that from this. Eyes of Laura Mars was more of a giallo than this for sure. I'd rather watch Eyes of Laura Mars, even though I didn't love that movie. It had a much better visual flair. Faye Dunaway, Tommy Lee Jones, Brad Dourif, Raul Julia. Like, you had a great fucking cast doing great jobs. Better score. The score here is forgettable as fuck. And again, the only thing I can really comment is, oh, the gore was pretty alright, and there's like 2 dead bodies you see in the entire movie. So, it's just like, whatever. It's very... There's nothing really to say anymore. It's just one of those movies that annoys the fuck out of me and just makes me wish I had my time back. But yeah, that was my review of In the Cut. If you've seen the film, let me know what your thoughts are down below. If you have any recommendations, put them down put them down in the comment section below. And Movie Reviewer Next Door out.